They say you should never mix family and business. I used to think that was just a cynical old saying. I didn't believe it, not until it was far too late. What started as a shared dream, a legacy to honor our parents, turned into a nightmare of betrayal, greed, and a heartbreak so deep it felt like it would swallow me whole. This is the story of how our family business, the one thing that was meant to unite us forever, tore us apart. Family means trust, right? Or at least, that's what I always believed. Growing up, my siblings and I were inseparable. We always talked about building something together, something that would carry our family name for generations. After our parents passed away, that dream felt more important than ever. We decided to honor their memory by starting a small business. It was our way of staying together, of creating something positive from our grief, and securing all of our futures. In the beginning, it was absolutely beautiful. It was everything we had hoped for. We'd work late into the night, fueled by coffee and laughter. We supported each other unconditionally. My sister, with her sharp mind for numbers, handled the finances. My brother, a natural leader, oversaw operations and the day-to-day grind. And I, with my love for creating, took care of the products, the branding, the creative soul of our venture. We were a perfect team. Our business started small. We opened a local bakery, and it quickly became the heart of our community. The smell of fresh bread and pastries filled the air, and people loved us. They didn't just come for what we sold, they came for our story. The story of 3 siblings honoring their parents and building a dream. It felt surreal, like we were living in a movie. It was a dream come true. But dreams have a way of turning into nightmares, especially when money enters the picture. Real, serious money. Success didn't just knock on our door, it kicked it down. Suddenly, we weren't just a local bakery. We were a brand. We were getting media attention, our profits were soaring, and offers for expansion were pouring in. And that's when everything changed. The unity we once cherished started to crack under the weight of our success. My brother, who was once just a hard worker, started talking about maximizing efficiency and the need for tighter control. He became colder, more calculating. My sister, my confidant, grew distant. She started making major financial decisions without consulting me, her explanations always vague and dismissive. The warmth that had defined our partnership was replaced by a chilling corporate atmosphere. Then, the red flags became impossible to ignore. I started noticing discrepancies in the books, funds that were unaccounted for. I'd walk in on hushed conversations that would stop the second I entered the room. There were shady deals with suppliers I'd never heard of. The laughter was gone, replaced by tense arguments that often ended with slammed doors and days of silence. Our shared dream was now a battleground. One night, unable to sleep, I was getting a glass of water when I overheard it. The conversation I was never meant to hear. It was my brother and sister, their voices low and sharp, coming from the office. "She's too soft for this," my brother said. "She doesn't have the stomach for what comes next. She slows us down." My sister's reply was what shattered me. "I agree. She's holding us back." My heart didn't just break. It felt like it had been ripped out of my chest. These were the 2 people I trusted most in the world, plotting to get rid of me. The next morning, I gathered all my courage to confront them. I wanted to look them in the eye and ask them how they could do this, but they were already one step ahead. They called a formal meeting. Waiting for me in the boardroom wasn't my family, but 2 business partners with their lawyer. They had legal documents ready. With cold, practiced speeches, they explained how they were restructuring the company. They forced me to sign away my ownership, my shares, my entire stake in the business we built together. They said it was for the good of the company. It wasn't just betrayal. It was a public execution of my role, my passion, my identity. It was humiliation, delivered by the very people who were supposed to protect me. I walked out of that building with nothing but my dignity, and even that felt tattered. The business we built to honor our parents was gone. My life's work, stolen. The home we built together now felt like a stranger's house. For weeks, I was a ghost. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. My mind was a torture chamber, replaying every moment. Every laugh we shared, every promise we made, every "we're family, we're in this together" now sounded like a sick, twisted lie. The grief was overwhelming. But pain has a strange way of transforming into purpose. After weeks of drowning in my own anger and sorrow, I made a choice. I could let this destroy me, or I could rebuild. Not the business, but myself. I packed my bags, left the town that held so many ghosts, and moved somewhere new. I started from scratch. I found a tiny storefront and I started baking again. It was the one thing they couldn't take from me. I opened a small cafe. No investors, no partners, just me, my recipes, and my passion. At first, it was slow. Terrifyingly slow. There were days I thought I had made a huge mistake, but little by little, customers started to come. They loved the food, but they told me they came back for the feeling, the warmth, the feeling of a place built on love, not greed, something money could never, ever buy. Meanwhile, I'd hear whispers from back home. The family business, the empire my siblings stole, was starting to crumble. Greed had taken over completely. My brother and sister were at each other's throats, fighting constantly over control and money. Their best employees quit. Loyal customers, sensing the change in atmosphere, left and never came back. The shiny empire they had built on a foundation of betrayal fell apart, piece by piece. Months later, I saw their company's name in the news. They had filed for bankruptcy. And in that moment, reading those words, I didn't feel joy or revenge. I felt a profound sense of clarity. That's when I realized the most powerful truth. I didn't lose. They did. They lost their integrity. They lost their peace of mind. And most tragically, they lost each other. I may have lost a business, but I gained my freedom. I gained my self-respect. Now, when people visit my little cafe, they see a successful small business. But they don't know the story behind it. The story of betrayal that taught me what real success looks like. It's not about profits or expansion. It's about peace. It's about purpose. And it's about taking pride in honest hard work. Family built that business, but greed burned it to the ground. And from those ashes, I found something far more valuable than any amount of money. I found myself. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever faced a setback that felt like the end, I hope this reminds you that it can be a new beginning. Don't forget to follow for more stories.